everyone, I'm Dr.Garima Asati. Welcome you all in my YouTube channel. Friends, today I'm going to explain you about the topic nasal polyp in English and the demand of few of my non-Hindi patients. So let's continue about nasal polyp. It is a non-cancerous growth which usually occur inside the nasal cavity or sinuses. 40% population suffers from it, and males are more commonly affected than females, and especially after the age of 20. Friends, before that, if you have not subscribed my channel till yet, kindly subscribe the channel, tap the bell icon to get the latest updates of the videos, and kindly see the video till the last, because in the last I'm going to explain you about some of the homeopathic medicines which can be helpful in curing this nasal polyp. Now let's talk about the symptoms of this nasal polyp. So there is nasal congestion, loss of smell due to nasal obstruction and congestion, sinusitis, that is inflammation of the sinus which are present near the nasal bone, so it gets inflamed, which causes facial pressure. Thick nasal discharges because of this nasal polyp. Nasal speech, and it becomes difficult to breathe through nose. That's why there is mouth breathing. Due to long-term nasal polyps, there may be destruction of nasal bones may occur. Prolapse of this nasal polyp may lead to pedunculated nasal polyp, and blockage of nasal passage also occur. It usually occurs in both sides of the nostril. It is a sac-like growth which is especially non-tender. It can also lead to decreased taste. Post-nasal dripping may be seen because of this nasal polyp, and there is continuous running nose. Now let's talk about the causes of this nasal polyp. So the exact cause is unclear. Still, it is associated with some of the diseases of the nose like sinusitis, rhinosinusitis, cystic fibrosis, or asthma. It can be due to recurrent infection or inflammation of the nasal mucosa. Now, what is this nasal polyp? So there is extracellular fluid collection within the nasal mucosa, and because of this a sac forms, and due to gravity it gets pedunculated, otherwise they are sessile. So gravity can cause these nasal polyp as pedunculated one. Now let's talk about the diagnosis of this nasal polyp. So it is clinical examination is more than sufficient. CT scan can also be done to check the number of nasal polyps if we have to do surgery for that. Now let's talk about the types of nasal polyps. So the first one is ethmoidal nasal polyp. So it originates from the ethmoidal sinus, runs through middle meatus and comes into the nasal cavity. They are usually multiple in number and smaller in size. The next one is enterocoinal, which is usually seen in children, which is usually a single one and extended or the larger one, which originates from maxillary sinus and extends up to nasopharynx. Now let's talk about the treatment of this nasal polyp. So allopathically it is only surgery and steroids. Now friends, let's talk about the homeopathic cause. One of the cured case of nasal polyp via homeopathy, and some of the homeopathic medicines which can be helpful in curing this nasal polyp. So the homeopathic cause is patient don't want to smell something and that stings to me, he feels that. But not at physical level, but at mental level. That something is stinking in my life and I don't want to smell that. I don't want to face it. That is the homeopathic cause. Now let's talk about one of the cured case of this nasal polyp via homeopathy. A patient aged 21 years suffering from nasal polyp and especially of the left side of the nostril. There was profuse thick mucus discharge from the left side of the nose and there was pain in the right side of the nose. The turbinated bones were swollen. After taking whole history, what we got is some friend has deceived him and he doesn't want to face that situation. That was the cause. But the reaction what appeared was he caught many number of delusions simultaneously, like illusion of snakes as visual delusion. He feels that someone is calling him, that is hearing delusion. He feels that food tastes bitter. Ants were creeping on the body, that is sensory delusion. Along with that, the nature of that person is he is very rebellious, defiant, disposed to cry easily but can fight with anyone. After taking whole history, we took the rubric delusion, imagination of senses and the medicine came out was murk. But as the nasal polyp is of left-sided, the medicine given was murk-IR, that is mercurius auratus rubrum, which cured him completely. Now friends, let's talk about some of the homeopathic medicines which can be helpful in curing this nasal polyp. So the first medicine is aurum metallicum. So the polyps are reddish in it, but there was greenish discharges from the nasal polyp or bloody purulent discharges may also be seen. Nose feels obstructed, yet air can pass through very freely. There is burning, itching, stinging type of pain in the polyp. Now let's talk about the mental symptoms of aurum metallicum. So there is self-condemnation, disgust for life. Disgust leads to suicidal thoughts or even committing suicide. Yet there is fear of death too. Patient is too much duty bounded, too much responsible. So if these symptoms correspond, this aurum metallicum will be helpful in curing this nasal polyp. In the next medicine is sulfur. So there is nasal polyp with pain. There is obstructed sensation within the nose and there is imaginary sense of foul smell. Means there is no exactly foul smell, but patient can imagine it. And there is profuse thick watery discharge from the nose. Now about the mental symptoms. So patient is very much braggart, boastful, very forgetful, but too talkative and loquacious and can talk on any subject. He has knowledge of every field but very little. So he is just like jack of all trades but master of none. Very censorious, critical, Rex seems beautiful. So if these symptoms correspond, sulfur can be helpful in curing nasal polyp. That's all for today. We'll meet soon with a new topic, new subject. The clinic address of mine and the contact number is given in the description link. And it's my humble request to you all, kindly don't take any medicine without consulting doctor, otherwise it will not be too much helpful to you all. Friends, kindly subscribe the channel and tap the bell icon to get the latest updates of the videos. Stay connected to stay healthy. Thank you.